Welcome back to day 4 of the 5-day sugar challenge. The last 3 days about our sugar intake and how it affects us in so many ways. And a lot of the issues that we struggle with, a lot of times are made worse because of our love affair with sugar. And I hope that you have been able to see, are there places that maybe you didn't even realize? Today, I will uncover some more that may surprise you, but I'm just going to go through my list because there are so many. And to help you out, I have created an ebook that you can get. It's going to be $7, but it's going to have all of this content because there's so much. And I want you to be able to take this information, start making some changes for you, for those that you love, and so that you can live a better life. And I'm going to start with the highly processed because those we want to cut out as much as possible and as quickly as possible because a lot of them are behind a lot of the diseases that I talked about yesterday. I really picked the ones that most likely you've heard of. So let's start with, first of all, some of the names for sugar. Now, we're familiar with, of course, brown sugar, white sugar, there's cane sugar, there's powdered sugar, date sugar, palm sugar, raw sugar, there's coconut sugar. There's so many different types, and you can buy regular, buy organic, unrefined. That just means less processing. It's still sugar, okay? So just keep that in mind. The other thing is there are sugar alcohols. They do not contain alcohols, but there's less calories, so they're often used. This is why it's so important to read labels, because a lot of times sugar might be the first or the third ingredient that's listed, but then there are all these other terms, names you don't really know what they are. Sugar alcohols are very, very popular. Now, xylitol is one you've probably heard. It's often in toothpaste. It's in a lot of things. It's probably one of the healthier ones, depending on who you talk to. Then there's also cane juice, fruit juice. We see that a lot where they'll take something and they'll say added fruit juice. So it sounds innocent. But first of all, what fruit is it coming from? And how much is in it. And so we need to watch out for things like that. And that's another one of those that sounds healthier to say fruit juice, but again, it's misleading. Agave nectar is another one. And then dextrin is also a common juice. And then we get into different types of syrups, which again are very, very similar. They're in that category of sugar. Agave tends to be very, very sweet, but several years ago it got really popular and you can find organic. Um, and I just wasn't real sure. Some of the research, some says it's great, some is like, So again, a lot of these things, let me say this, a lot of things often depend on you and if you have underlying health issues, because you might be able to eat something that maybe someone else, even in your own family, can. Okay. So it's important to know, even when something they come out and they say, oh, this is super healthy, that doesn't mean it's going to be healthy for you. So always keep that in mind. You have to make sure you are doing the test against your body. All right. And sometimes people have issues with some of these. So try them out and then see, and you decide. All right. Corn syrup, we're all familiar with corn syrup. And then high fructose corn syrup has been in the news a ton for several, several years. And that is one I personally, that's on my list of absolutely not. It's extremely sweet. It's very, very cheap. It's made from corn, and it is in a ton of things. Now, again, the marketing people for manufacturers have gotten on to the fact that a lot of people are saying, I don't want anything with high fructose corn syrup. So you're seeing that now in a lot of different packages in the store on crackers, on chips, on bread. I see that a lot. But again, pay attention to all of the other ingredients and make sure that you're mindful of the fewer the better. All right. And then, of course, pure maple syrup. And they're not talking about pancake syrup that we all know. This is totally different. Okay. It's not as sweet, but I love it. Okay. All right. There were tons of other names, but a lot of them, honestly, I couldn't even pronounce. So we're not going to try. But I want to talk about where a lot of these things are hidden that you may not have really thought about. So, again, like I said, bread is a very common one. So, any kind of bread items, buns, regular sandwich bread, you name it, bread products, okay? We're not talking about artificial sugar, although I will say there's a lot to be said as far against sugar, but I still think it's a better choice than artificial. Artificial is exactly what the name said. It's fake. All right. So I think we definitely need to bring down the amount of sugar we're eating, but I don't think artificial sugar is the answer. There are other problems that come with it. But a lot of dressings are loaded with sugar, especially low fat ones, because once they've taken the fat out of the dressing, it doesn't taste like much. And so that's when they tend to put in all of these things, sometimes the fruit juices, some of these other types of sweetener. So watch out for dressings. Canned soups are one that you would think, why is it in there? But a lot of canned products add a little bit of sugar. Sports drinks. Yes, the ones your kids, your teenagers, maybe you like after playing a sport or going for your, workout at the gym. A lot of them have a lot of sugar. Frozen dinners. Again, why? Of course, we think of jelly. We expect there to be sugar in jelly, but you can find ones that don't, that they're strictly the fruit. But again, watch out for the fruit juices added as the sweetener. Peanut butter. Peanut butter has lots of sugar, but you can find it without. And I buy the organic peanut butter without any sugar added. Salsa. Again, why would you think to put sugar in salsa? A lot of your sauces, of course, your barbecue sauce, your ketchup, your pickle relishes, a lot of those condiments tend to have a lot of sugar. Then we get into some meats, bacon. Unless it says on the package no added sugar, it probably does. Hot dogs, deli meats are notorious for lots of added sugar. So watch those types of things, different sausages. All right. Crackers. Again, why would you need that? But they do add them. And so a lot of your dairy products also have sugar. There's so many things out there, a lot of baby food sometimes. So, the assignment today, my challenge to you is go through your pantry. Maybe start there. Go through the pantry and begin turning the cans, turn the packages, the boxes, whatever it's in, and read the label and begin looking. When you start seeing all of these names you can't pronounce, there's a good chance it's something that you don't need. So come back tomorrow because it feels like I've given you a lot of bad news, but there is good news. And so tomorrow we'll be looking at what are some alternatives that are much better. But I will say, I talked about the process, but then there is the honey, the pure maple syrup, coconut sugar. Those buying definitely going with organic, but you do want to be cautious. Let me say that. You that is not licensed to just drizzle. And I have to often remind myself because I do like honey. And you want raw honey, unfiltered honey is the absolute best. Use it in moderation. And the other thing is when you are wanting baked goods, make them yourself. They're not hard. Start simple. But begin doing those things. Makes all the difference in the world because you are the one deciding. And when I use recipes, I don't use near the sugar that they call for. So, and again, I buy organic, mostly brown sugar, coconut sugar, um, and I definitely, as much as possible, minimize how much. We've gotten to where we feel like we need to have sweets around all the time, and we don't. But the fewer times we get into feeling like we need them and become aware of what they're doing to us, then I think we'll be more satisfied. And tomorrow I'll offer some healthier options. So come back and definitely pass this information on to friends, send the replays, go back and watch each day. But tomorrow, just say no. But I offer some good alternatives. So until next time, I'm Coach Maggie, certified health and lifestyle coach, teaching healthy living, abundant living, God's way. Take care and God bless.